This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323Reid, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323Reid. That's 323REID.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. NFL, you have permission to launch.
Okay, let's go ahead and get into these conference and division picks. We're going to go division by division. I'm just going to launch off the teams or glaunch off the teams. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're going to glaunch off these teams and with their records last year, how everything went for them. We'll both give our quick predictions on how the season goes for that division, and we will work our way to Super Bowl predictions. This is what you're here for, people. It's time for the 2024 NFL season predictions.
Time, space, referee decision-making. These are all just some of the mysterious, uncontrollable strands of life that make up the massive universe that we call home, and the comfort food for the soul that we call sports. As most people journey through it with no idea where to go or what to do, a select few will help you navigate the terror, frustration, and endless possibilities of making a 50-50 choice. This is Ricks versus Gricks.
Oh, Scott, we're starting in the AFC. We're going to run through the AFC here, and we're actually going to start with the Hard Knocks division. That is the AFC North, and I say the Hard Knocks division because all four teams are going to be covered on in-season Hard Knocks this year. The Baltimore Ravens, who finished 13-4 last year and lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs. The Cleveland Browns, who finished 11-6, they made the playoffs but lost in the wild card to Houston. Pittsburgh Steelers, they finished 10-7 last year, lost the wild card game to Buffalo. And the Cincinnati Bengals, who finished 9-8, did not make the playoffs. Scott, what do you got going on in Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati this year?
I think the Steelers are going to stay at the bottom. I think this might be Mike Tomlin's worst season ever, as you're having Russell Wilson and Justin Fields vying for the worst quarterback in the AFC North. The Browns are going to be the Browns. Their defense is scary, so that's going to keep them in enough games. The Bengals offense, I do look to see being revitalized this year, hopefully on the back of a healthy Joe Burrow, as long as Jamar Chase can get back on the field and stop bitching about his contract that he still has 2 years on. But the team that I felt that did the most and is going to be dominant this year in the AFC North is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, if you look just the acquisition alone with Derrick Henry. Yes, Derrick Henry he's not your prototypical running back. He's still going. He's a big body running back, bruiser. But I think what this gives them the edge is when they get within that 10-yard mark of the end zone, not having to really rely heavily on Mark Andrews to get open a lot more because he always has some kind of injury concerns. You don't have to worry about Lamar Jackson trying to shake loose and try to running it in. Just hand it off to Derrick, let him do his thing. He'll just be a touchdown hawk all year down when they get the goal line work.
I'm, going through all of it, gotta kind of roll with you there, but the main team that I have a difference on is Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh's winning the division this year, but I think Russell is going to do a lot better than people are expecting and giving credit to right now. Russell Wilson had a sneaky, decent to good season last year. He didn't get benched out of performance. He got benched out of his coach, Sean Payton, being an asshole and not wanting to, risk him being hurt so that they could get out of his contract this season. And, I think Russell got a little humbled. I think he's energized. He's in his villain era, and he's ready to go with this Steelers team that was competitive last year and was competitive under the guide of Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, little baby hands, Kenny Pickett. I think Russell can do that at the very least. I wanted Justin Fields to succeed so much in Chicago, but I just do not see him succeeding well as a quarterback. But give him a year sitting behind Russell Wilson and under the tutelage of Mike Tomlin and now Arthur Smith at OC, who I think will have a little bit of a revival, being able to focus on just being a coordinator there. I like Pittsburgh to be sneaky competitive this year. Maybe get into the playoffs. Who knows? We'll dive into that a little later. I mean, my Madden franchise this past year had Russell Wilson winning MVP and the Steelers winning the whole fucking thing. I don't have that being the case, but Madden did, and my simulations do usually pretty damn well, and I usually doubt them at the start. I think Pittsburgh is a sneaky competitive team with a lot of great defensive players. O-line is a little revived. George Pickens is continuing to be on the up and up as a star receiver, and maybe Najee Harris finds a good role as a goal line back there with Arthur Smith. Cleveland, honest to God, if Deshaun Watson is your starter all year and staying in with the drama of his shoulders and shit, I don't see him leading you to very much. Joe Flacco was a dramatic improvement of scheme fit for that team at the quarterback position. There's talent in Cleveland. Jerome Ford I like, but he is not Nick Chubb. He is not going to have that kind of an impact in a season. Nick Chubb, when he does come back, probably midway through the season, I think it's going to take a little while for him to get back to form. His knee was completely obliterated. I don't have Cleveland competing. I don't have Cleveland making the playoffs this year. Cincinnati, I think, will have its work. I made this prediction years back, and god damn it, I'm bringing it back. Zach Taylor gets fired this year by the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think the Bengals are going to have a great year. I think it's a little chaotic going all around. O-line is still trying to figure out what it's doing. Joe Burrow's coming off a bad injury. T. Higgins, I think, gets traded midseason. Still, I'm giving you bold predictions even during these predictions. Bengals aren't making the playoffs. I agree with you. Baltimore Ravens win that division pretty easily. This is a do or die year for Baltimore and John Harbaugh. I don't think Harbaugh gets fired necessarily unless he misses the playoffs. But dude, you got everything stacked. The defense is young and good and getting better and better. I'm expecting a huge year out of Kyle Hamilton at safety. Lamar Jackson just coming off of the MVP run. He might not win MVP again, but dude is hard to stop, and you give him a running threat when Baltimore's been trying to run the ball and be a run-heavy threat. Now you actually got somebody like Derrick Henry to do that work for you. He might not be the bell cow, but he doesn't have to be. This team's going to be a threat. And if Zay Flowers can continue to improve, maybe get Rashad Bateman to thrive, having an actual true number one. I don't like them losing Odell Beckham Jr., but, do what you got to do. I like Baltimore to win this division and be a massive, massive threat to the AFC as they're trying to clinch the thing that they've been missing for a while. AFC South. We go from the north to the south. Who's going to be the kings of the South, Scott? Houston, the Texans, they were the big bell of the ball last year. They finished 10-7, lost in the divisional round to Baltimore. Jacksonville finished 9-8. Colts finished 9-8, the Indianapolis Colts. And the Tennessee Titans finished 6-11. What do you got going on there this year?
Yeah, I think it just really boils down to quarterback play. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. Whoever comes out of this is going to be barely over 500. I don't have any of these teams winning more than 10 games. I actually don't think I have anybody winning more than 9 games. But I mean, from the bottom up, you got Tennessee and their big rebuild. They just traded Malik Willis to the
Packers.
The Packers. So he's gone. So they're definitely throwing all their chips into Will Levis. And I wasn't ever really impressed with Will Levis in college. I mean, he's definitely flashy. He's a gunslinger. He's more of this generation's Brett Favre, where he just chucks the ball down the field. Yeah. He's not afraid to take shots. That might get him into a little bit more trouble than what he would like. So I'm not really expecting a lot out of Tennessee. We already kind of talked about Jacksonville there a little bit. I feel they're going to have a really big learning curve, especially with Anthony Richardson coming back been playing with the Colts. I think if you remove him, that would give the Jags a little bit more of an edge to take away some games from the Colts and potentially just sweep them for the year. But I don't expect a lot out of the Jags. I do not like Anthony Richardson, but you cannot deny his just has athleticism. And then you got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, and their defense, they're going to be vying for that top spot in the AFC South. But like I said, I feel it's all going to boil down to the quarterback play, and I got to put all my chips into the quarterback that I have the most faith in. And right now it's CJ Stroud there in Houston.
I couldn't agree with you more on this being such a truly quarterback dependent division. Like, whatever way your quarterback goes, that's how it's going to go. Jacksonville, if Trevor Lawrence blows up and becomes what he's, was promised to be, is the golden boy, sure, I could see Jacksonville taking it. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen in that offensive scheme where Doug Peterson is way too loyal to his coordinators. And that coordinator, that whole system probably should have been reset this year. Now they've lost Calvin Ridley. They don't have that weapon. They got Brian Thomas Jr. in the draft, but receivers, especially the, not the solid number one pick guys, take usually a little bit longer to develop. So don't like Jacksonville this year. Tennessee, honestly, that defense really did improve. They just got Ernest Jones, who's a captain and really, really sneaky great linebacker for the LA Rams. They got him in a trade. They got L'Jarius Sneed, who I adore at cornerback, in trade from the Chiefs, which I think really hurts that team. They improved really all over the defense, and which was basically at Jeffrey Simmons on the D line. So the defense is great. They have Calvin Ridley now at wide receiver. They have is Hopkins is still there in Tennessee, I believe, partnered up with Calvin Ridley. I want to say he is. And they got Tony Pollard. If Tony Pollard can be what he is flashed to be at most times, sure, you got a threat. It just depends on Will Levis. And I'm agreeing with you. I thought Will Levis is flashy. He's like a Favre mixed with... He's Taylor Heineke if Taylor Heineke had the arm that he wanted to. Like, that's who I think Will Levis is. And I don't think that that's enough to win this year. Maybe he develops a little more and gives you promise, and you can keep trying to develop him. But
right.
Houston, Houston is what I already thought. Like, I don't think that they're going to do enough to compete for a spot in this particular conference. Indy, the Colts, that's the ones I'm putting my chips in. I'm putting the chips in on Anthony Richardson. And it is dependent on Anthony Richardson, but that team was competitive last year with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I honestly believe that Joe Flacco, at his accelerated age, is still better as a backup quarterback than Gardner Minshew. So if Richardson goes down, I think Flacco fits into that scheme pretty damn well. Jonathan Taylor, though, is what I think is going to help. I think Jonathan Taylor has a rebound year. He is healthy now. He is fully, come back from that injury that he had. Defense is solid still. I like the Colts. I like the Colts to win this division. I don't see them doing much, post that. But yeah, I like the Colts for this division.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I have the Colts right there at 2, but they're not far away. Like, there is a world where these two teams could end up having the same record, but the Texans have them on a technicality. Yeah. I could see it's going to boil down to the one of these two teams, and especially the Titans. I mean, I love Brian Callahan as a coach. I love what he did in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow and that offense. Hopefully he can replicate that in Tennessee. I just don't see him. I just don't see it being this year with that quarterback.
No, not this year. Not this year. Going to a division that has big quarterback names, a big quarterback play. That's the AFC East. They include the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. They finished 11-6 last year, won the division that lost the divisional round to the Chiefs. The Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa, they finished 11-6 last year. They lost in the wild card round to the Chiefs. And the New York Jets with a newly healthy Aaron Rodgers. They finished 7-10 last year without him after he famously went out in the first 5 minutes of the game, one of his first few snaps. And then the New England Patriots, who finished 4-13 last year in Bill Belichick's last year. It is a brand new era there with head coach Gerard Mayo. And I say brand new era. I mean, it's still kind of, the Patriots way kind of thing that's happening there. But they have Jacoby Brissett, also a former Patriots quarterback. Now is the starter for that team with Drake May in the wings. Scott, who do you have winning the East?
I can tell you right now, it's not the Patriots.
It's not the Patriots. I'll agree with you.
Insert Super Bowl prediction. Patriots will have the worst record in the NFL this year, and they will have the number 1 selection next year. They're going to be awful. I mean,
and Jacoby Brissett's perfect for that. Let him leave the tank.
Right. He's going to be a sacrificial lamb for Drake May. It's not going to be Drake May's fault. He's going to sit behind him. He might get a little bit of play towards the back half of the year after the bye week because they have a late bye week this year, which is nice for them. But yeah, Patriots aren't it. The Jets, I have zero faith in Aaron Rodgers and that coaching staff. I think this was the experiment that they tried doing with Favre. They tried to do it again with Rodgers, and it's going to fail again and blow up in their face. And I just feel bad for Garrett Wilson for being stuck in such a mess. It's going to come down to, just like how we just spoke about the AFC South, this is going to come down between the Bills and the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to do what they do best and come out hot on fire. What worries me is their bye week is week 6, and then they have a really long stretch. We've seen the injury concerns with Tua. Tyreek seems to be nursing an injury every other week now. I guess he lost a thumb war with Mike McDaniel. I don't know. I'm interested to see what Jalen Waddle does coming off his injury. But I think this is going to be the final. I think this is where you're going to start seeing that window finally close in Buffalo. I really love James Cook. Josh Allen's still there. Yes, they have very underperformed and untested wide receivers. But I guess I'll let my Florida State hat show here for a second. I really love Keon Coleman in that offense. I think he's going to light it up. And then also having one of the most reliable tight ends in the game in Dawson Knox in Buffalo. They're going to start off slow. And once they get past that bye week in week 12, that's their time to shine. And they're going to roll right into the playoffs.
Okay, there we go. I mean, first off the bat, Patriots. Yeah, we can scratch that. We can agree completely there. And I see nothing. I see nothing for that team this year. They cut Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, you lost all your Juju now.
Juju on that beat.
But where I disagree comes down to the other three. I like the competitiveness for Buffalo. I think that Buffalo made all the right moves, to kind of get into this rebuild mode, but still understanding that they have a team, they have a good coach in Sean McDermott. I fully believe that is a good coach. And Josh Allen being a great quarterback. I like the acquisition of Keon Coleman in the draft. I love his highlights. I love his skill set. I think he fits perfectly there and will fit very well alongside I guess he might wind up being the number 1 receiver by default in Curtis Samuel. But Curtis Samuel is going to be a fun weapon for them and fun weapon for Josh Allen. He had a really improved last year in Washington. I also like Khalil Shakir. Khalil Shakir is a sneaky good receiver there. I think that they're not really going to miss too much of a beat when it came to Stephon Diggs and the drama and the ego, and Gabe Davis and the remarkable drops that he would have as the number 2 receiver and supposed to be a star. And they still have plenty of defensive talent. They got rid of Tre'Davious White. They lost Jordan Poyer and the other safety whose name is escaping me. But they still have some talent there. Taron Johnson is a kind of an unsung star safety there. Taylor Rapp I really like as a safety. Taron Johnson's a corner, by the way, my mistake. But I like Buffalo to compete. I like Miami to compete, but it's the same thing that you said. They start hot. Once they get into the later in the year and they have to play teams in cold areas, it's like things just shut down completely. And if they don't win the division, they're kind of screwed, because more than likely they're going to wind up going on the road somewhere like Kansas City again or Baltimore, and it's going to be cold and it's going to throw them off. I don't like it. The team I like to win the division this year, shout out to Luis Martinez, the Big Chief Burrito. Give me the Jets.
Wow.
Jets, Jets. I'm taking the Jets this year because I have faith in Rob Saleh. I think Rob Saleh is a good coach. Not so sold on, the coordinator positions there, but I like Saleh as a leader. And if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, obviously he's not going to be MVP Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that is any type of reasonable expectation. I don't know what Jets fans are thinking on it, but you just need a quarterback for that team to be competent. Last year's group had some of the most incompetent quarterback play I think I have ever seen from any team. That was John Beck, Rex Grossman, Redskins level incompetence on this quarterback play. Zach Wilson, so bad, was the best of the bunch. They brought Tim Boyle in. It was one of the worst it was the worst start to a guy that they said, it was like, oh yeah, he's going to take us to the playoffs now. But yet, this team was on the playoff fringe pretty late into the season and just had slight hope because that defense is remarkable. Quinnen Williams at D-line, fantastic. Hassan Reddick might play, don't know. Who knows? I don't know what the Jets were doing with that. Trading for a guy who wanted a contract and then saying, I'm not going to give you a contract. He fooled us. No, he didn't. He told you. He told everybody at the start. But you got Sauce Gardner back there. You got a lot of talent on that defensive backfield. O-line is improved because not only do you have a great young right tackle, but they also picked up Tyron Smith, future Hall of Famer from the Cowboys. They picked him up to come in there and play and improve that line and that protection play for Aaron Rodgers. Breece Hall, I think, is good, will help provide a pretty solid running game. Garrett Wilson, incredible receiver. He will be fun for Aaron Rodgers, and it will help a lot having Mike Williams on the other side for as long as he'll stay healthy. Mike Williams will be there as long as Rodgers can just play competently and not try to do too much, not try to be the Aaron Rodgers of old, which I think he is aware enough to do as a quarterback. I've always respected his smarts on the field and his awareness level. I think Rodgers can provide enough to not give costly turnovers that plagued that team last year and do enough to just play it safe, win the division, maybe make a good run there in the postseason. Over from the east side to the west side, we have the AFC West to finish off this conference. Scott, Kansas City Chiefs, they're in that division. They finished 11-6 last year. They won the Super Bowl. The Las Vegas Raiders, they finished 8-9. The Denver Broncos finished 8-9, and the LA Chargers finished 5-12. Scott, what's going on in that division? Is this fairly simple?
Yes. It's probably the easiest decision I can make all night. Fuck Sean Payton. The Denver Broncos are still going to be trash. The Raiders are not for real. Chargers, I have at best 9-8 this year. I think they're gonna do a little bit better than what you're anticipating on them doing, simply based off of Harbaugh's. He's gonna run that rock as much as he fucking can. He's gonna try to save Justin Herbert as much as he can. It's the Chiefs. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, there's not really too much to talk about with it. Like I said earlier, the Chargers, I think, are going to be competing for the number one pick. I don't like the talent on there. Yes, they are going to be running the rock, but they're going to be running the rock with Gus Edwards. Gus Bus. They're running with Gus. Shout out to Gus's Bar and Grill. It's a good name. But Gus Edwards? J.K. Dobbins? Just kidding. Yeah, that's what their run game is going to be. Just kidding. I don't like it there. I think Justin Herbert. Bold prediction. I'll give you a final one. Justin Herbert leads the team in rushing.
Wow.
Greg Roman's
I
going
like
to be
it.
there throwing out that Lamar Jackson shit with Justin Herbert, who is people forget, very athletic. So that's a massively bold prediction from your boy. Broncos going to be trash. They're going to be trash. There's no way to say it. I feel bad for Bo Nix.
I didn't.
The Raiders could be sneaky. I don't like.
Who do you trust more? Who do you trust more? Aiden O'Connell, do you trust AOC or do you trust Minshew more? Do you think, depending on what quarterback is under center, do you think that's what's going to steer the direction of this team?
Yeah, I trust Minshew. I trust Minshew to keep the team at like a 500 level, like a 500 or maybe just sub 500 level. Everything like he's Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's literally the new Ryan Fitzpatrick, just a digit up.
Yeah, I mean, and his personality, he just fits Las Vegas. He seems like you would find him on some kind of like 5-day bender on the strip, smoking a whole pack of cigarettes at a casino somewhere, and then rolling in.
Yeah, still ready for game day.
Rolling into Allegiant, just going and slinging the rock.
After the first drive, just giving out like some gnarly cough. Like it's like I'm good. It's all right. Get Jacoby back out there. Devontae, we're good. Oh, Devontae Adams is gonna hate it. He's got to hate this.
I feel bad for Devontae, man, but he
did it.
One of those aging wide. He played himself. He played himself.
He was on the Packers. Like this is what Brandon Ayuk. He could have been. You know what Brandon Ayuk saw, and he was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be him.
No, don't get me started on Brandon Ayuk. He's a moron. I think I've talked about this year in and year out. I am all for players to get their bag while they can. They're not going to be able to play forever. Get your money when you're able to shake that tree. But when the base of your argument is that you want more money, but you want to go to a competitive team, like you're on the most competitive team in the league. So it's like, what are you doing?
Right. Oh, I don't know.
I don't get it.
Like you said, it's going to be the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. Of course they're going to win. The division. It's going to be no contest. Hey, we're moving to the NFC now. This is our conference. Well, before we do that too, do you have any wild card picks from the AFC that might slide in there?
Ooh, yeah, it's going to be a lot of those teams that I said that were going to be vying for that are really going to make that push for the actual division winners. The Dolphins I have up there. I can see the Jets sneaking in. The Bengals, Steelers, if they decide if you actually get competent quarterback play out of them, maybe. Colts. And then that's pretty much it. I only see one team coming out of the West.
Yeah. Perfect. Like I said earlier, I got the Steelers being that competitive. I've got the Steelers making it into the wild card. Bills will be a wild card team. Miami will be a wild card team. It's pretty existent right there. Houston will be like on the edge. Tennessee, I think, will be on the edge. Cleveland will be on the edge. So we'll see how it goes there. In the NFC, not the Patriots. Patriots, and the Broncos, fuck off. Stay out of our conversation. Oh, the NFC, teams that are in this conversation right now as a storm rages here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. A massive flash of lightning, and I'm recording by a window. So we move through the NFC relatively decent pace. NFC North. We had the Detroit Lions. They finally became the Kings of the North last year. They finished 12-5. They lost in the NFC Championship game to the 49ers. Green Bay Packers finished 9-8. They lost in the divisional round to the 49ers. The Minnesota Vikings finished 7-10, and the Chicago Bears finished 7-10. Scott, who are we going with?
I was really when I teased you and Zoo earlier a couple weeks ago about one of my bold predictions I was going to make this year is going to be about the Vikings, and I'm not saying it anymore. I really feel for them. I had a lot of high hopes with JJ McCarthy. He had a really great showing there during preseason. I had him kind of taking over the helm about halfway through, maybe after the bye week, since they are in like week 5 or week 6.
Yeah.
But I think they're just so banged up. I don't see any real direction there in Minnesota right now. And I mean, when you have Lego head Sam Darnold himself under center, I hope he does good. I'm really rooting for the guy. You talk about a quarterback who's been dealt shitty situation after shitty situation. Yeah. I really hope that he proves me wrong on this one. But I have them at the basement in NFC North, followed by the Chicago Bears. That's a very exciting offense, even with Caleb Williams coming in for his rookie season. But you play 2 games against the Packers and the Lions. Both these teams have just completely turned around their franchises in the last couple of years, especially the Lions. It's going to come down to those 2. And I think it's going to come down to the last week of the season. You got the Lions at home, inside against Minnesota. And then you have the Packers outside against Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down to one final play by Bowl take NFL MVP Jordan Love leading the Packers to win the NFC North.
Okay. I love that. I love that turn it took there. Got me with the weather. Play. Yeah, you hooked me. I like it. I agree with you. I feel bad for the Vikings. I don't know why Stephon Gilmore signed there. I have no idea. Like, it baffled me. I think he must not have been up on the news. Something
he got swindled.
He got completely swindled. I feel for Sam Darnold. He could still be this year's Geno Smith. Could still have a good season. I'm hoping he does. I've had a lot of stock in Sam Darnold when he first came to the league. I was calling him like the next Tony Romo. That hasn't happened. Vikings won't do anything. Bears, I think, will be competitive. Like I said earlier, Caleb Williams is going to have an incredible season and will lead them to a lot of wins. I just don't think they're going to be playoff bound yet. But it will save Eberflus's job. They'll look competent. They'll keep moving ahead.
Well, their saving grace is that they have like one of the easiest schedules this year.
That helps a lot too.
That's going to help. But I think that's going to overinflate a lot of the expectations going into next year.
Yes.
So let's temper those for right now.
Then you really see, like you said, it comes down to the Lions and the Packers. I like the Packers a lot this year. I don't know if I have Jordan Love necessarily at an MVP for MVP consideration yet, but could surprise me. He definitely surprised me last year. I just think that teams are going to be a little more ready for him this season and ready for some of that play from those pretty much no-name receivers. But that's some of the most impressive quarterback play when you can turn these receivers that nobody else could thrive with into greatness. I just think the Lions are way too stacked to not win this division and really compete again. They still made some more moves to keep them competitive this season, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is my guy. If Jared Goff can just keep on the same level that he's been, going, and they've kept Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator, they've kept the whole coordinator, the whole coaching staff just completely stays intact. I like the consistency. I like the fight in them. I like the drive. I think they're going to try to prove everybody they can keep doing this. Give me the Lions.
Hey, and don't get me wrong. The Packers and the Lions, they're going to come, like I said, they're going to come down to that last week. I have both these teams being 12-plus win teams.
Yeah.
Whoever doesn't get that division championship is going to go in the wild card.
Yeah, I'll already throw in there that the Packers will be one of the wild card teams. I think that's a easy way to go on that.
Right. I think we both agree there, just flip-flopping it.
From one of the best divisions to one of the worst, the NFC South. It was a time last year. Sorry to your Buccaneers, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they finished 9-8, won the division, lost to the divisional round to the Detroit Lions. The New Orleans Saints, they finished 9-8 last year. The Atlanta Falcons finished 7-10. Carolina Panthers finished a league worst 2-15 last season. Scott, what's happening there this year?
The Panthers and their complete just lack of direction from up top. I feel bad for Bryce Young. They do have some promising young players coming in, but it's not going to be enough. This is going to be another, just like how the AFC South was. It's going to be gritty. Like it's not going to be fun to watch. Whoever wins, you could see an 8-win team come out this year and sneak into the playoffs. The Saints, like I said, I have my own personal qualms against Dennis Allen. I wish him nothing but no success for the rest of his career. And it kind of boils down to the Buccaneers and the Falcons. The Bucs, I'm kind of worried because Baker really hasn't posted back-to-back stellar seasons. I would love for him to throw for another 4,000 yards this year. But, I mean, you have an aging Michael Evans who arguably could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, I think he's posted 1,000 yards in every single season he's been in.
He has, yeah.
But you look at the Falcons. You have Kirk Cousins coming over from Minnesota, giving you a lot more stability there under center in Atlanta. You got Kyle Pitts, who's kind of, after that first year, he's kind of been non-existent, but you could chalk that up to subpar quarterback play. You got a very scary two-headed monster in the backfield with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, Drake London on the outside, who's coming into his second season. And that defense isn't anything to sniff at either. But I do worry about how Kirk's going to be playing with his Achilles situation.
Right.
Is he going to be able to bounce back from that? Honestly, this is kind of writing on the wall for Kirk. This is his best situation he could have ended up going to if he wasn't going to be staying with the Vikings, going to a subpar kind of division like the NFC South. Give me the Falcons at 9-8.
Okay.
Give me them.
It's going to be rough, man.
I mean, you got to look at the Falcons' back half. Coming out of their bye week of Week 12, home against the Chargers, in Minnesota, in Vegas, at home against the Giants, on the road in Washington, and then at home at Carolina. Cupcake soft.
It is.
Cupcake soft, dude. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have one of the easiest schedules, if not the easiest schedule of the year, which just gives me more purchase of kind of propping them up this year, as much as it pains me.
Man, I wanted to do something bold here, because I feel like everybody's going to be picking Atlanta to win the division. I was gonna go on a limb here and say Carolina, the Carolina Panthers, to win this.
I will leave the stream right now
to win this season. I've already been called an idiot for my fantasy picks. I've gotten all these names. I can't go. I can do the hot take stuff. I can't go that far. I'm not gonna go that far to throw out the Panthers. I do think the Panthers are on a better path this year. I like that coach, Dave Canales. They got him from Tampa Bay. He really helped the renaissance in Baker Mayfield. I think he can help Bryce Young a lot. I like the acquisition of Deontay Johnson. I like Jonathan Brooks, the rookie running back. I think that's going to be big helpful. O-line is not terrible in Carolina either. Like, it's pretty decent. Defense, man. Defense is kind of rough. I was just looking at that depth chart. They got Jadeveon Clowney, but it's because they paid him, and he's going back to the Carolinas. Maybe being in that Carolina air will help fuel whatever the hell that was at South Carolina for him. But I can't get. Carolina will do a lot better this year. They won't win the division. The Saints, I have them finishing terribly. I have it all falling to shit. We talked about that earlier. Tampa Bay will be competitive again. They'll stay competitive. They'll stay in that heat for that gritty division win. But I got to go with the Falcons, man. Like, there's too much improvement all along that roster to not go with the Falcons. Even with Kirk coming off of that Achilles, I think he'll be a big improvement over Desmond Ridder. And even if something happens to him, you got Michael Penix Jr. that drafted him at 7th overall. We thought it was a mistake, but he's still a damn good quarterback, and he's a pro-ready quarterback at that. So he can come in right away and do something, I think, for them. I think Bijan Robinson has a massively upgraded year. Darnell Mooney's a big receiver, sneaky good receiver acquisition they got. I refuse to believe in Kyle Pitts, but it's that defensive backfield, man. I'm in love with defense. I stay in love with defense. You already had Jesse Bates there, who is underrated, fantastic safety. You got A.J. Terrell, who's a great corner there, and then you add Justin Simmons, who was not having a bad year last year in Denver. It was just money and time to go. Justin Simmons comes there with Raheem Morris as the new coach, who has experience on offense and defensive sides of the ball. I think Atlanta has a pretty damn good year and does more than enough to really kind of easily win that division.
Yeah, I mean, especially like with question marks on defense. I mean, you have Raheem Morris coming in, and hopefully this is going to be his renaissance as a head coach. He was head coach for the Buccaneers for a couple of years there, but I mean, he's coming over from LA in the Rams, being the defensive coordinator there for the last 2 seasons, being under Sean McVay. I think their offensive coordinator, I think this is his first year At the helm, Zach. I want to say Robinson or Robertson. Robinson
from the Rams.
Yeah, he was developing quarterbacks there in the Rams. I mean, you have two guys who were able to learn under Sean McVay, who comes from that very long line of Mike Holman coaching tree, especially with John Gruden and, Kyle Shanahan. And I mean, they were in a really good situation to learn from one of the best to coach at this point. So it seems they have the stars aligning there in Atlanta. I'm just hoping they can squeak away with it.
I think this is going to be a hell of a year there. It's going to be a hell of a year. The apocalypse is opening up here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So we're going to keep moving rapid fire here. The NFC East, the beast. The Dallas Cowboys, they finished the season last year 12-5, but they lost in the wild card round to the Green Bay Packers. Philadelphia Eagles, they finished 11-6. They lost in the wild card round last year to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The New York Giants, they finished 6-11. Where is that sound? We love that sound. We need that sound.
The fucking Commanders! Ah!
They finished 4-13. Got the number 2 overall pick. Brand new regime there in Washington. Everywhere else is kind of hanging on by a thread. Who do you got, Scott, in the East?
Well, start from this is gonna be a little bit of a little monologue for you, Reid. But the Giants, they're struggling to find their way. They're going to be closer to being vying for a top 5 pick than anything in the postseason right now. So I think we can count them out. You mentioned the Eagles. They lost in the wild card to Tampa Bay. They really backed their way into the postseason. I mean, they just stumbled all the way through. They lost 6 of their last 7 games. And then you have a defense that's kind of changing its makeup a little bit. And then also you're losing one of the key cornerstones of that offensive line in Jason Kelce. I don't see Philly. I could see a world where Nick Sirianni is actually out of Philly after this year because they're not going to really be as competitive as they want to be. And talk about not competitive, especially during the offseason, Dallas Cowboys, they made very little to no any kind of roster moves to improve their roster, and they finished 12-5 last season. This is where Scott's big hot take of the year is going to be coming. The Washington Commanders are going to go from worst to first in the NFC East. I mean, look what Josh Harris has been doing in his first offseason. Bringing in Adam Peters as a new GM, hiring Dan Quinn as a head coach, which is a great defensive-minded head coach to have. We saw all the success we had in Atlanta. Bringing Cliff Kingsbury over from Arizona to be your OC, especially with a young developing quarterback like Jade Daniels. He's been kind of deemed one of those quarterback whisperer type coaches with that kind of high octane offense. But I mean, we see this year in and year out. I mean, last year we had the Texans. They went from nothing and they won a division title. I mean, I think the Jags a couple of years ago, they did it. The Bengals, when Joe Burrow got there, they did it. You always have one of these teams that no one's looking at, no one has any kind of faith in, and they come out of nowhere and they win the division. Oh, and mind you that there hasn't been a repeat NFC East champion since the 2004 Philadelphia Eagles. So if you want to base it off of that logic, it's not going to be the Cowboys this year.
That's an easy one. Yeah, that was an easy way to figure it out. It's just where do you go from the other 3? And I agree with you. The Giants, not even going to look at it. Brian Dable is going to be gone after this season. The whole thing, you can see it on Hard Knocks. It's going to be like Exhibit A of why we fire all of these guys for everything that they lost. Let me grab this just to get the hype in there.
For folks who are listening instead of watching us on the 323 YouTube channel, Reid has come back into frame with what looks like to be the snuggliest and comfiest blanket I've ever seen.
It is easily the snuggliest and comfiest blanket I have ever had. Like, this is a awesome Washington. I'm rocking my Commanders blankie. This is made. We'll put up the handle on social media for our social media consultant Angela Panagua, who is also a great crocheter.
Hey, and you know what football season means? What else is right around the corner? The holiday season. So if you folks listening and watching at home, if you really loved your loved ones, they might be in the market for a nice, snuggly, cuddly blanket.
And I mean, look, man, it's gonna be cheaper than that NFL merch, the official site. Just wait till the NFL gets a hold of this and partners up, right? because this is beautiful. This is really nice. And so we're talking about the NFC East. I got to rep it. I got to rep the right material. Giants are going to finish poorly. Washington, man, I'm not. I told Zoo and I had this heart-to-heart on the Commandalorian report. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high. I'm not going to let you do it to me, Scott. I'm not going to let you do it.
That's fine. I look forward to December when I said I told you all. I told everyone I had more faith than you two.
And I hope you do. I hope that you're right. I hope that I'm wrong. I have Washington finish around 3rd place, but it'll be like a 7 to hope ideally 9-win season. I'm just hoping they're competitive. And I think that they can be just competitive in games that they should be. That's going to be the big key. Dallas is way too talented overall, I think, but this is where I think it's going to be a particular kind of misery for Cowboys fans. They are going to lose games so closely and so miserably. It's going to be like that Chargers season where like every game was within, every fourth quarter for the Chargers is like the final 2 minutes is within 3 points. And it's going to be like these coaching decisions. There's so much talent in Dallas. It's miserable to see them just continue on with Mike McCarthy and this coaching staff that is not there, that is not going to do it. And decisions from Jerry Jones like, let's go back into the fucking Ezekiel Elliott well. Why not? He's not, like, he was a center the last time you had him. And you're gonna throw him out. And not only what pisses me off is for the Cowboys fans, those loyal Cowboys fans that had that number 21 jersey. And we're like, well, at least I have a jersey of a player I can wear. I can bring the Zeke jersey out of retirement. He switched numbers. So now he's wearing 15. 21 was there. It was available to him. Stephon Gilmore left. Asshole. Like all of you. The whole regime. Assholes. Zeke's going to get ownership or something. That's what's happening there.
Oh, God.
No, Philly's going to win. This is such a nice, cozy, big blanket I had to get out of. There we go. Philly's winning the division. And I don't necessarily know if they'll be competitive enough. Maybe Nick Sirianni woke up and got some type of awakening and a light to seeing that his job could not only be taken, but you're going to have Bill Belichick breathing down your fucking neck every Monday night on the Manning Cast. Like,
you don't think that Howie Roseman's going to have that fucking number dialed up just waiting to get you in there midseason?
He's going to have Bill Belichick in the crowd, sitting at like the 50-yard line, like right above the thing, like fucking heckling Big Dom.
Listen, Belichick's going to come into Philly. He's going to bring the Patriot squad with him. He's going to bring Josh McDaniels, the OC. He's going to bring Mike Vrabel on as the defensive coordinator. It's just going to be this generation's Patriots in Philly.
And it'll be scary, and that's why I hope Philly wins and wins and wins so that we don't get Belichick there. Belichick in Dallas could be just fun drama. That could be something fun. I do think Philly is talented enough and has like enough upgrades across their roster, especially with Saquon Barkley, who I think is going to have a great year for Philly. I loved the pickups in the draft of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean to shore up that defensive backfield as some of the stars like Darius Slay and James Bradbury get older. James Bradbury just went on IR for the first 4 weeks with some type of leg injury. So, yeah, give me Philly to win that division pretty handily. Finally, the NFC West, Scott. We had the San Francisco 49ers, the reigning NFC champs. They finished 12-5. They lost in the Super Bowl to Kansas City. The LA Rams, they finished 10-7. They lost in the wild card round to Detroit. Seattle, the Seahawks, they finished 9-8, and the Arizona Cardinals finished 4-13. Scott, who do you have in the West?
Yeah, I see this being I see it playing out a lot similarly to the NFC North. I don't see the Seahawks being terribly competitive. I think I have them at like between 4 and 6 wins. I really feel for Geno Smith. I wish nothing but the best for him there in Seattle, but I don't see anything happening, especially with the aging Tyler Lockett. JSN, haven't been totally sold on yet. But there's just too many question marks everywhere in Seattle. Arizona, you got Kyler's going to keep you in there some games, but they just have so many issues in Arizona. So many issues. They're going to be right down there with Seattle. You might see only like a win or two difference between the two of them. it's going to boil down to between the Niners and the Rams. The Niners arguably have the most complete and dominant roster in the NFL on both sides of the ball, including special teams with Moody as their kicker. Yep. So it's kind of hard to bet against them. But I am drinking the Kool-Aid out of LA. I think this is going to be the Rams' little renaissance coming on. I mean, you saw how Puka Nacua came on the scene last year. You're hoping that you're going to have a fully healthy Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, and I just, as long as Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, which I know time and time again, you can say that's an easy cop out, say blaming the quarterback for subpoor, production out of a football team. But I'm really feeling this Rams team this year. I was reading a couple reports, a couple interviews from Sean McVay, and he even came out saying like this is the most fun that he's had in the last couple years, and he was kind of questioning why he was even thinking about walking away from football. So I think when you have an energizing factor like that, and the Niners seemingly always sputter out somehow. I don't know what John Lynch and San Francisco are doing, especially with the whole Ayuk situation that just happened. It's like, you're going to pay the guy the money. Just pay the guy the money, right. Get him in the camp and get him prepared. So it's like, just do what you want to do. But no, give me the Rams at like 11, 12 wins this year.
The Ayuk thing is wild to me. While we're at it, he got his extension, a 4-year, $120 million deal. I think, yeah, 4-year, 120 because it's $30 million average. Because they were trying to, just the simple thing that I think, like, sports media, we're not geniuses, but it doesn't take a genius to see some of this shit, right? Where Brandon Ayuk is solid, a very, very solid, good receiver. He's a number 1 for most teams. He's arguably a number 2 in San Francisco because of Deebo Samuel. He fits perfectly there. You wouldn't pay him the $34 million that like a Tyreek Hill or AJ Brown is getting, but you should pay him more than like $28 million, which is starting to become like a baseline on a lot of like good receivers. So everybody was saying, hey, give him like 30, 31 mil, meet somewhere around 4 years. It's not too big of an extension. What do? They tie along the drama for so long. Same with Dallas and CeeDee Lamb, where they gave him exactly the contract when Dallas wanted a 6-year contract. He wanted a 2-year, 2 or 3-year contract. What do we give him? 4-year contract. It's math, dude. Ugh. That rant aside, I think the Seahawks are going to be the worst team in that division. And I think that's not saying a lot. I think it's going to be a very, very good competitive division. Seattle, not ready quite yet with Mike McDonald, their new head coach. Not sure how that personality is going to mesh too well with what the culture that was inspired by Pete Carroll, who was kind of their Ted Lasso-like figure, now going to this like hard-nosed dude who has a Bieniemy-like reception and reputation in the league. But otherwise, I have, and I'll give it to you now, I have all 3 teams, the other 3 teams in this division making the playoffs. It's just where they make it, right? The Rams, I'm with you. I like the fun. I like the energy of that team. I like the defensive acquisitions in the draft, especially those FSU boy that they got in there. I love them getting Cam Curl in the defensive backfield. That they're gonna love him. They're gonna have a lot of fun having him blow up different plays. And the continued evolution of Puka Nacua, along with what I believe is going to be a Cooper Kupp resurgence, is going to make this a very, very fun offense. Kyron Williams is damn good. You can almost bet that he won't stay healthy, though. What did they get? Blake Corum.
Especially now that he's taking kickoff returns.
Yes. They got Blake Corum, who was a Heisman contender with Michigan, was considered by many was going to be like the top running back in this past draft class. I think he's going to be fun. He's going to have a lot of great moments for them. Matt Stafford, he stays healthy, stays upright. You'll be good. The Arizona Cardinals, though. You and I differ right there. That's where our big difference is. The Cardinals, if we remember, they finished 4-13 last year, but those games were pretty damn competitive. Even at the start, they were staying in there. They were at least putting a fight to the point where it kind of looked tankish, right? But like they were like first halves of games, they were like on your ass. They were down your neck with it. Once Kyler Murray got back and was healthy and good to go, Murray was like solid. He was having those moments that we were hoping for him from as a number 1 overall pick and Heisman guy. I think Kyler Murray, healthy, back, I think he leads his team to a damn good year. I think that they're going to have some impressive marks. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to have a nice big year for them, even though we say fuck the Ohio State, fuck the off. I like the Cardinals to be competitive and get in here as a sneaky wild card team this year, and to be that sneaky contender that's just going to be like hurting people, killing dreams at the last second, and actually elevating their own. And I like their head coach. I like Jonathan Gannon. I like him coming out of Philly, even though it was like pretty much Philly trying to get rid of him, and he wound up with that job. Why not? I like it there. But San Francisco 49ers, like we talked about with the Baltimore Ravens earlier, they're built to compete now. They're built to have this window and win and ideally get to the Super Bowl. They just keep getting there. They keep getting there. They keep getting close. You're right. They sputter out. Maybe they need to figure out something with a committee approach with Christian McCaffrey, or just do the LeBron James LA Lakers way of just do enough to make the playoffs and be fully healthy when you get there. So that way everybody can come in and do what they need to do. I got the 49ers winning this division and kind of being in that same spot of Baltimore of where like you need to do it. You need to do it this year, or have something catastrophic happen and give you an excuse for why you didn't do it. And like I said, my wild card teams out of the NFC, I've got the LA Rams, I've got the Arizona Cardinals, and I've got the Green Bay Packers as the wild card teams from the National Football Conference. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, it's Niners, Lions, and then give me Niners, Lions, Eagles.
Niners, Lions, Eagles. Okay. All right. So now that we have our division winners, our wild card teams, let's just go ahead. We talked about it earlier, and I got the sound ready for us. Let's blow our loads.
Pause. Now go.
Let's get to the Super Bowl predictions, our super early Super Bowl predictions. Scott, would you like to go first? Would you like to kick it off?
Sure, I'll go first. As many listeners know, and Reid, you know specifically, I am a man of history. I'm a man of looking back on the past, because that's the only way we can move forward in life, is understanding where we went wrong in the past. And if you think about where we were at 10 years ago, the Seattle Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos in the 2014 Super Bowl, and they followed it up with a back-to-back appearance facing off against the Patriots in the 2015 Super Bowl. Last year's Super Bowl. Who won that, by the way? You want to remind me again?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep. And I think it's all but safe to say they're the safest bet in the NFL, especially coming out of the AFC, to go to the Super Bowl. They're going to be going this year, but they are going to repeat history, and they are going to lose this Super Bowl to the Detroit Lions.
Hey!
I have the Rams going to the NFC Championship game, but I have them facing off against the Lions. Rams I kind of have in that one seed. So seeing Jared Goff traveling into LA, taking them down, and getting that first Super Bowl there for Detroit.
It's going to be a sight. Okay. All right, Detroit. All right, so Scott's early Super Bowl prediction is the Detroit Lions over the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, it's going to hurt Mama Murphy. It's going to hurt to get that close. It's okay. She's had enough. I know that the Chiefs are going to be contenders, right? Like, they have to be. Like, they were already so damn good last year. Now they're actually improved on the offensive side of the ball by getting, I think, improved enough just by getting Hollywood Brown for however healthy he'll be. Rashee Rice will probably stay throughout the year. I don't see a suspension coming this season. I could see it happen next year, kind of like what happened sort of with Alvin Kamara.
Well, didn't the NFL say they already came out saying they're going to let the legal process do its thing, and then they'll come out. So who knows how long that's going to take? As
they always do, yeah. So it would be safe to say the Chiefs, but I think my main pick here, is also kind of safe, and that's the Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC. I think it's the year. I think they have the talent to do it. I think Lamar needs to do it. I think Harbaugh needs to do it. Harbaugh can do it. He's proven that as a head coach. I like the Ravens to finally just get the right cards with Derrick Henry. They get the right spots and win the AFC and make it to the Super Bowl. Now, who they're facing off with? Go through all these division winners. Detroit, that's a contender. Atlanta, they're not going to be contending for it. And I erred in not playing this sound earlier with all the Atlanta Falcons talk that we had. Rise up, baby! Never got to the big man. Never got to the fake Burt Kreischer.
Love it.
Philly, I do think will be contending. I think the Eagles will be contending. We thought it was going to be a battle of the birds possibly last year in Baltimore versus Philly. I don't see that happening. Could it be a rematch, Baltimore versus San Francisco? 49ers have all the talent to do it, but I think that Super Bowl losing bug hits just about every team, right? Like that next year, it's like a hangover. It's a full-on hangover of trying to get over being that close and putting in that much work for that long and not getting the job done. I think San Francisco has had it a little bit too much to where it's really going to bite them this year. I could see them being an early exit in the playoffs.
Yep.
No, buddy. I have the Baltimore Ravens going up against the LA Rams. I
like it.
I trust Sean McVay probably more than any other coach outside of Andy Reid in this league. I like the Rams to be a force and an energetic, fun time. They're going to go in there. They're going to be a competitive game against the Baltimore Ravens, but I don't think they're going to have enough to overcome what is an incredibly talented Ravens team that I think just needs to get out of the AFC, and they will have no problems with any of the NFC teams. I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this year's Super Bowl over the Los Angeles Rams.
You know what? It's not out of the realm of possibility. Like I said, I have the Rams and Lions facing off. I have the Lions sneaking in there from their wild card spot because that's just how it's going to play out with the Packers winning the division. So
yeah,
I could easily see, as we stand right now, the Rams going to the Super Bowl.
It's going to be a incredible season.
Question.
Answer.
If bold take, if the Rams are on this big of a push down the stretch, do you see a world where Aaron Donald comes out of retirement to come back and suit up for the Rams for one last push?
Ooh. If
taking on a full load.
Pause. Now go.
But just enough to help. Like you said, you got Braden Fisk down. They got Braden Fisk and Jared Verse from Florida State, two rookie defenders that made the starting lineup. He's been removed now for a little bit, so he's in really good physical shape, so I don't see him losing too much of a step, but I don't see him wanting to take on the full starting workload. But I could see him coming in as kind of like a complimentary, kind of throw him out there when you need some veteran guidance.
I'm going to say no to that and counter with one Jason Kelce. I could see Kelce making just getting that itch again somewhere. You're going to be watching him on Monday Night Football, and he's going to look like the post-retired O-lineman, like skinnier and, not in football shape. But watch the Eagles perform, and you're seeing all that good Philly stuff going on. Maybe the O-line's a little shakier, and by November, all of a sudden, Jason Kelce's looking a little huskier on Monday Night Countdown. You're starting to put two and two together. Yeah, I could see Kelce, or the person who keeps teasing it and seems to really want to come out, J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt,
Ooh.
I could see him making some type of push or campaign for Houston, just to end it all right.
Right. Can I leave this? Can we end this on one final bold prediction from the Scott.
We gotta track the bold predictions that we had on here, because we started a little light and they got crazy.
Well, I think a lot of them had to deal with specifically the playoff implications.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to drop that Commanders one earlier, but I knew I had to sit on it and wait. Bold prediction: Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will be breaking up during the season, and you'll see Travis Kelce officially enter his villain arc.
Damn, that's a big one. I could see the breakup happening this year too. We somehow got an hour and 58 minutes into this stream, and this is the first time we've mentioned Taylor.
Good, and that's gonna be the only time we mention Taylor.
Just wait till week 1.
But we're not gonna not mention 1 minute left in the second of the North Dakota State and Colorado game. North Dakota State 20, Colorado 14.
Oh,
you hate to see it.
But it's still enough for Shedeur Sanders to go number 1, like my bold prediction.
Oh my God, Jimmy Horn Jr., 3 receptions, 103 yards.
Oh my God,
Jesus Christ!
Never mind, that's the number 1 overall pick next year.
Oh my God.
Hey,
T.O.'s there.
Is he playing?
He wishes.
Is he Deion's OC?
Oh God.
Oh my God! If you want to hear about how that game went and hear the full analysis, and going into some more on Colorado football and these thoughts on what Deion's done with the media team and the fight that he's having with the media there in Colorado, College Shame Day is the place to go for that and so much more, like incredible college football knowledge and action. Scott, you ready for this weekend in college football?
I am excited. It's officially week 1. We had a really great opening weekend of week 0. It didn't end out, the weekend didn't end the way that I was hoping it was going to, but we'll get into that a little bit deeper on the next episode of College Shame Day. But just to tease it, just like how we gave all of the NFL predictions for this season, we will be sitting and enjoying a nice little conversation about who we feel are going to be winning the Power 4 conference titles this year.
Okay. There we go. College Shame Day. You can come check us out. I'll be there. I'll be on the little box. I got a nice little producer box. It's cute. We'll be there every Saturday morning on the 323 Network YouTube page. Go subscribe to it. Go follow. Again, we will be the 323 at Gus's Bar and Grill in Richmond, Virginia, West Broad Street. It's going to be a fun time. Sunday, September 8th. First NFL Sunday of the season, 4 p.m. You can catch us live on all the social media feeds at 323 Reid, at 323 REID, or the 323 Network YouTube channel. You'll catch us live around 4 o'clock. It's going to be a fun day. Just hang out with us, chill, talk shit with us as we're talking shit to each other, watching the game on the little screen and the Cowboys-Browns game with obnoxious Browns fans, converging all around us to our right on a giant screen. Don't know how that works in Virginia, but it's going to be fun anyway. We're going to have a lot of good times. Hey, for the 323 Network, I am Reid Murphy. Again, follow at 323 Reid on all the social media pages. We will talk to you all later. Ricks versus Gricks, the first of the season. That'll actually be the next thing you hear. God, I can't wait. It's so good to be back in football time. Oh, boy. Hey, we'll talk to y'all later. Stay safe, everybody. I really have to stay safe. This is a bad storm that's happening.
You got your blanket. You're safe.
That's true.